Test. Nebraska.
Next part of our video is serious and has no funny excerpts in it.
Hi, this is Bartholomew Swift, World War I veteran, and this is my television program, Going Back to the Past. Today, our first guests are Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler. Alright, Mr. Mussolini, how did you take over Italy?
Well, see, it started with me convincing the middle-class people that communism was very, very bad and would destroy our government. And then, from there, the king took a liking to that, and then he appointed me as Premier of Italy. From there, I usurped his power, took over as dictator, and then just went to take over many, many European countries with my little buddy over here.
Oh, stop it, you're too cute.
And you led Italy with fascism. What is that?
Fascism is a type of aggressive nationalism where, see, the one little individual is much less important than the country.
Alright, Mr. Hitler, how did you take over Germany?
Well, it started in World War I. I was a soldier. And after we lost the war in the Treaty of Versailles, we crushed Germany. Me and the rest of Germany wanted payback on the Allies. So what we did was, over time we built up our forces in the Nazi Party, and we went on to achieve control of Germany.
Thank you. Alright, our next guest is Anne Frank. Thank you for joining us, Anne.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Swift.
Okay, can you explain to me how Nazi Germany has affected the Jewish community?
It has affected the Jewish community greatly. Nearly 6 million Jews their lives have been ruined. They are gone. And it's from the Holocaust, which is just the German Nazi persecution of Jews. And in our Hebrew language we call it Shoah. And it's horrendous, the mistreatment.
It's a terrible crime against humanity. How have the Nuremberg laws affected the Jewish community?
If your grandparent was a Jew, then you are considered a Jew, and they would put a big red J on your door so everybody around you knew you were a Jew. You couldn't be a doctor, a lawyer, a screen actor. You couldn't. All of these people lost their jobs because of it. You had your basic rights were taken away. If you had a German-sounding name, you had to change it to make it sound more Jewish.
It's terrible. Can you explain to me what Kristallnacht was?
A fired-up man, Jewish man, who was upset after his family's mistreatment by the Germans, killed an important German figure, and Hitler devised this way of influencing the media, and once the media was influenced, the German people rose up against a lot of the Jewish people in the community, and it was called Kristallnacht, Night of Broken Glass, and people were killed, and glass was shattered everywhere, and from that point on, the Gestapo, the German secret police, ravaged Jews. They captured them, and my family hid in an attic, and we tried to escape the persecution, but many Jews were sent to concentration camps where they had to work until they died. It's very horrible.
Terrible. Horrific. Well, thank you for joining us, Anne.
No problem.
Hello there, I am Joseph Stalin. You can now laugh at our video.
Our next guest is Joseph Stalin. Hi, Mr. Stalin.
Hello there, Mr. Swift.
Okay, so you are the leader of Russia, is that correct?
Yes, I took over after Mr. Vladimir Lenin passed away.
Right. And you're in the Allies, is that correct?
That is correct. The Allies is me, the Russia, and the British, and the U.S., and the Francies, you know.
And who are you guys fighting against?
We are fighting against the Axis, which is the Japanese, and the German, and the
Italian?
In the Italies, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mussolini with his big hat. You know,
Yeah,
you know him. You met him.
I have. So, can you explain to me what happened at Stalingrad?
Well, Stalingrad? Okay. Hitler fall, Germans, Russia, curse! Cursing! Whew. And the
Um,
kill, and the cuss, and
how
the
did-
burn,
how
and the
did you-
kill, and the cuss.
How did you manage to win Stalingrad?
Well, Russia, German. Russia, German.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Stalin.
Oh, okay. Dun, dun.
Our last guest today is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Thank you for joining us, Mr. President.
How are you doing, Mr. Swift?
I'm doing all right. Now, can you tell me how the American people helped win World War II?
Well, basically, the American public was half of our victory of World War II. Now, it all started with the Great Depression, and this war came around, and we got pulled out of it. People were getting jobs. We needed to produce tanks, aircrafts, boats, many vehicles, weapons, bullets, everything that was necessary to fight a war effectively. So, industry kicked up, and everyone was happy again, because everyone was pretty depressed during the Depression. Very bad time in our history.
Go figure. What were a few of the things the American public could do?
Well, the most prominent activity that helped us win the war was rationing. So basically, every family, depending on the amount of kids, your age, etc., you got a ration book, and you had coupons, and you could get a certain amount of food during the week. Now, this helped save extra food for the American soldiers over across seas, because they needed the finest conditions possible to crush our enemies.
It's very noble of you. What are a few other things that the American public could do?
Well, they had victory guns, which, now, the rationing, many Americans liked it, as in the sense that it would help our soldiers, but many didn't because they were hungry, so they just started growing their own food, and everyone's happy again. Other activities, we had war bonds to raise money for the troops, and recycling, like tires were used for rubber for treads on tanks. I'm very proud of our country.
As am I. All right, well, thank you for joining us, Mr. President.
Thank you.